Hey guys, how's it going? And thanks for coming. I'm Nick, and this is Real Life Money, where we talk about real life and money, because schools aren't, so let's get started. So welcome back, guys, to another Stock Market Weekly recap. If you've been following us, welcome back. And if you're new, what we do is we look at the previous week in the stock market, look at some popular news stories going on, some individual stocks, and a couple mutual funds. So let's get into it. So hopefully you had a good week, guys. Stock market was definitely an interesting week, but for this week, it was the week of November 6th. And looking at the Dow Jones here, we're still in the 23, so that's good, but it was a little bit down around 0.5%. But there were some things going on this week, especially with one of the stocks that we normally look at. So, of course, we'll be getting into that in a little bit, but this is the other technically an index fund that we normally look at, the S&P 500. They closed 258.09. Again, for this week, a little bit down, 0.14%, but year to date, still good. So the news, there were some earnings this week. It's earnings season, so stocks are either skyrocketing or dropping. But one of the main stocks that we're going to be looking at today is Disney, because they've been getting slammed for like months now. And now things are starting to get picked up. But first, let's look at a couple things. Well, a couple earnings with some stocks. So I wanted to show you guys some huge movers for this week, and not in a good way whatsoever. But these are smaller companies, one of them you probably heard of and maybe even use. But they announced earnings and they dropped. So you can definitely see with smaller companies, they have larger rewards and larger risk, and you're going to see the risk right now. So first, I'm talking about Snapchat. And yes, this is the Snapchat that you have here on your phone and doing those little video things. So you could see on Wednesday, they tanked over 14%. They got destroyed. And so, well, for this week, they are down over 16%. So they got slapped up. Now, I heard that their earnings weren't good. Well, kind of obviously. But they did add like a bunch of subscribers to it, or followers. But they are planning on restructuring the actual app, like the fundamentals of it. That could really be interesting. So the growth of the company right now is definitely like, they're not making any profits. That could be years to come. But you could definitely see with the more risk with these smaller companies, you could have larger returns, but in this case, with the risk, you did get hit. Now, I wanted to bring this stock up for you guys just because I've never seen anything do so freaking bad. This is Blue Apron. They IPO'd a little while ago, a few months. IPO means they basically went public. They went from a private company to a public company. So shares and stock were being sold for the first time ever with this company. So you could see it started above like $9, but ever since then, it was just going down, down, and down. What Blue Apron is, real quick, is they basically have with like groceries and food, and I don't know too much about it. I don't think they like deliver it to your house type of thing. So, interesting concept. But I know that Amazon got into Whole Foods lately, so that was definitely competition for them, making them go down very quickly. And ever since then, it's still ridiculous. So they're down like over 70% since they went public. And again, small company, huge risks. So I still believe that the stock market is great and all, don't get me wrong, especially for the long term and the right companies. Do your due diligence, do your research, because you can get hit like these companies did. I mean, especially for the short term. For the long term, that's a completely different story. Snapchat might be able to rebound and even grow faster, but time will tell. those are just a couple quick stocks I wanted to show you guys. So let's get into the regular stocks that we would normally look at. So first with Apple, guys, they closed at 174.67 this week, up over 1%. The iPhone 10 is being sold out in stores. Lines are crazy. But so far so good. Holidays are coming. But it definitely seems like people are liking it. I think the sales are going to be phenomenal. So Apple for the long term, of course, in my opinion, is going to be a great pick. You know, with multiple mutual funds, probably majority of them have Apple. Maybe not like their top holdings, but definitely like one of their top. Now the big one that caught my eyes, guys, for this week, there was actually a bunch of things going on the whole week for these guys. Disney, like we normally look at, they're finally making some freaking moves. About damn time, Disney. So, some interesting things going on. Well, first they closed above 100 since I don't even know anymore, probably months. But for this week they are up over 6%, closed 104.78, and year to date they are finally positive in the green. So let's talk about Disney, guys. In the middle of the week, what was going on is that there was talk of Disney purchasing either Fox, like Fox News, or assets that they have. So purchasing them, obviously they're with TV and media and that type of thing. And Disney wants to get into streaming. They're thinking of like a year or maybe 2 years. They want to go into streaming, and they're going to be a competitor of Netflix. So they're planning on pulling new releases away from Netflix that they have on their setup over there, and trying to make their own. So they'll have Disney movies, they'll have Star Wars, they'll have sports. So they're definitely trying to get into their space. Looking at Netflix stock, obviously it reacted poorly to that because that's more competition for them. Definitely, the pricing might change, and Disney might give them a run for their money. So you could see that they're down around 4% this week. So that was kind of the middle of the week of talk of Disney buying some things of Fox. Now, will this go through? It's still in the early process. It could happen, it could not happen. But just the idea of it is definitely good. They're definitely looking in the right direction. But that was the middle of the week. Toward the end of the week, they also had earnings. So this was interesting. Of course, they did miss their earnings, unfortunately, because of the ESPN. ESPN's been declining, just like their stock has, and that's why. However, the CEO basically is focusing on a new Star Wars trilogy. Like the new Star Wars that's coming out, The Last Jedi, or A Last Jedi, something like that. That's just like the beginning, and they're going to continuously make more Star Wars. So that's obviously great growth potential. Now, I actually did a whole video on this, guys, if you're interested. I did a stocks to invest in 2018, and I focused specifically on Disney, went into a little bit more detail, but the main topic's what I just told you with Fox and the Star Wars. But if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. But you could see, especially for the long term, Disney was getting hit, and I'm going to bet that they're going to rebound and probably do very well in the future. So I'm definitely long-term with big old Disney. So that was exciting, kind of the main thing that I had my focus on. But let's move on to the other stocks that we normally look at with Facebook. Not a huge week for them, just down about 0.25%. So nothing really crazy with them going on, closing at 178.46. Next, tech giant Google over here. Again, not the best week, but nothing horrible. Down around 0.4%. Still over the $1,000 mark. So awesome. I really do love Google, especially for the long term. So we're going to be checking them out for quite a while. And the next and last individual stock that we normally look at, guys, Starbucks. They are rebounding since we started looking at them. They were closer to like the low end of the 50s, and now they're getting into the high end of the 50s. So again, they have that rebound going on. For this week, they did actually pretty good, 1.8%. They are in the positive for the year of 2.74%. So those were the individual stocks. Let's move on to the one mutual fund that we normally look at, Fidelity Contra Fund. For this week, they were actually down a bit, 0.7%, and closing at 126.65. So overall for this week, guys, most stocks actually did not good at all, but it was definitely interesting seeing what's going on with Disney. They did miss their earnings, but just because of that growth idea of the streaming and Star Wars, I definitely see that rebounding. So that was good news. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Real Life Money, where we talk about real life and money, because not many people do. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.